Benito. I'm looking, where is he?
I was teasing you.
You got ready, guys? Everybody about ready? Everybody ready? You're the boss. Bruce, you ready?
Yep.
Welcome to the October meeting. We've already called ourselves to order and taken our roll call tonight, and as you can tell, everyone's here tonight. And so welcome to the October meeting. And I would like to ask at this time that Benito Perez, one of my old students, step up and give the invocation. And how about a scout? Do I have a scout that would like to step up? Come on up here. Stand right there in that corner. When he's through praying, I'd like for you to lead the crowd in this Pledge of Allegiance. Okay? Benito, yes. Benito Perez is from the Spanish Christian Lighthouse Church, and he is here tonight representing his father.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you, Lord, for this day and night. I ask you, Lord, you have your way in this meeting. Lord, bless all the council people here. Lord, I know, Lord, and by faith, Lord, that you have placed each and every one of them, Lord, in the chair, Lord, that they belong in. Again, thank you, Lord, for all what you're doing, and thank you for blessing Waynesville, Lord. In your wonderful, precious name, amen.
Amen. Nice prayer. Sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you step over here, young man, and tell our city clerk your name so you can be in the minutes? Well, he needs to learn what the minutes are, right, Aaron? Yep. That's what he's here for. And then before we get started, we have our TigerTV students tonight. Is it just Kat up there with you, Tim? Hi, Kat. We appreciate you guys a lot. Appreciate everything that you do. And thank you very much for being here. The first thing on our agenda is our consent agenda. And for our scouts who are here tonight, this is where we put all of our housekeeping business. That's rather, I hate to use the word simple, but simple things that we have to pass. So I would entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Ed, second by Clarence. All those in favor, would you raise your hands? And that is unanimous. There we go. And moving right along, let me arrange all my fun stuff here. And we'll see how many of our people are here. I believe I checked everybody. Do we have a representative from Piney Ridge here? Okay, very good. And we have several important fun things tonight. And so you scouts are here for a good night. I'm going to, Daniel, would you step up and tell a little bit about Cody, because I don't know some of the details.
Cody Vaughn, he's a third-year apprentice lineman for the city of Waynesville. He's been with us a little over 4 years now, I think. Going on right at 4 years. Back in the summertime, he was in a boating accident at the Lake of the Ozark. Steering cable broke on the boat, which in turn threw him out of the boat. He was cut up by the prop a little bit. He's been through several surgeries already. Still has one more surgery to go through.
Wow.
A lot of rehab still ahead. The city got together. We, with the city staff and Jen and Bruce and then several other of us, we got together and put together a fundraiser for Cody benefit down at the park in Waynesville. We had several things. We've done a gun raffle. We got a guitar that we're raffling off. We're going to draw for that here in just a few minutes. And Cody, he's been a very good employee. We're very glad to have him. The city has put a lot together for this, and several employees for the city has donated their own time to go to court so he can continue to get a paycheck. So we've done several things to help him out, and tonight we would like to present him with the check that we have raised for that fundraiser.
Very good, and I want to say, Jennifer Worth, all of our girls in the office, I shouldn't say girls anymore because Tyler's there, all of our office people, Jennifer was kind of the lead in this activity, and I want to thank her father for helping with the auction. And I would tell you that I have a check here for, I can't see it, guys, $11,600 and something dollars for Mr. Cody Vaughn. Here, here. You know, at his age, he's got to come up with all the extra percentages. And I would imagine as a young, young guy, that's kind of hard to do. And one other thing Daniel didn't mention, so many of our employees have donated the sick leave to Cody so that he's still getting a paycheck. Isn't that amazing? Yes, and we also, Jennifer, if you want to go ahead and get the guitar maybe and bring it over. Route 66 Music downtown donated a beautiful electric guitar. And I'm telling you, it is pearl inlaid, it is gorgeous. And we did sell tickets for a few weeks. And here's another $153.
Thank you.
Can we show?
Yes.
And then they had asked me to draw the ticket, and I said, no, we're going to have Cody draw this ticket. But look at this guitar. Have you guys seen it? I would offer to play, but you wouldn't want to hear it. Isn't that cool? So somebody is going to be the owner of this beautiful guitar. Now, I want you to, just a disclaimer, I did buy a ticket for my son-in-law. So if my son-in-law wins this, you're going to hear me hooping and hollering, okay? So Cody, would you draw the winner for this guitar?
Let's see. Let's get that son-in-law.
Make sure
Yes.
you draw my name.
And Jennifer has it.
Bruce Harrell.
Rigged.
Okay, I'm gonna hoop and holler. I got somebody in mind for a Christmas present.
Oh, that's great.
Almost said it over here.
You ready to play? That wasn't fixed, was it? You sure say though, that wasn't fixed.
No, it was real. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate it.
That is great. Cody, would you like to say something?
Get ready to play it next council.
Oh,
I just want to say thanks to everybody for their time and effort that they put into this. It really means a lot, coming from a young guy and having a community that I live in. It's really tough, going through this. It's life-changing. Didn't expect it, and the community's really come together and really did a lot for me. And I just want to say thanks to everybody that put in their time and effort, and I really appreciate it.
Very good. When do you think you might be back with us? Are we looking at months?
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't give you a time.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Well, we hope it's soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm tired of sitting in the recliner.
I bet you are.
It goes next
I bet
week
you are.
for console
Yes.
and the last surgeries.
Let's get a picture
One or
here.
two, maybe. I don't know. It all depends on how
Come on up,
they
Jennifer.
do that meeting.
Here we go. I'm going to get a picture. Very good. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.
Cody, thank you.
I appreciate it.
That was nice. The next thing is, as most of you know, as I leave office as mayor, I've been trying to honor our volunteers in our community. And so many of our volunteers I have, over the years, have nominated them for awards with MRPC, for example, with the Chamber, for example. I always did that. And so the last year, I've been picking on my volunteers who really don't get a lot of recognition, but they were always there. And so I surprised, come on up, Benito. I surprised Benito Perez at his church, was it last week?
Yes, ma'am.
And surprised him, and I gave him his Good Citizen Award. And then Reverend Benny, as we call him, told me that he's off on a mission trip
Yeah, he just landed today in Puerto Rico.
in Puerto Rico. And so his son is here, and I actually gave Benito his certificate already. But I told him, I said, I'm going to give you the first key to the city. So I have a key to the city. It's little. So it doesn't open much stuff. But would you tell him that he now has the key to the city, along with a coin because of his military service. And I wanted to say just a word about Benny, and then I'll give you an opportunity to say something if you want to. But I wrote this. I said, from the first day of being mayor, I knew I had a friend in Reverend Benny. He was a willing supporter of our downtown efforts and wanted to be a part of helping from the beginning. He is the pastor of the Spanish Christian Lighthouse Church. He's married to Anita, I'm close, Anidra, I believe. They have 7 children. This big old boy is one of them. I think we decided that I had 3 of you in class, maybe 2, when I was teaching. Benny served in the U.S. Army from 1974 to 1993. In 91, he built and opened the Spanish Lighthouse Church in Waynesville. He has also served many missions to Panama, Puerto Rico, Vietnam, and Africa. He has literally served thousands of people all over the world. He has a servant's heart and a volunteer spirit. Benny, can I say, I probably maybe shouldn't say this publicly, but I think Benny's like Waynesville's own little Salvation Army. Huh?
Yeah.
Somebody comes to Benny and asks for help, he never says no. Twice a year, the Spanish Lighthouse opens its doors for free food, free clothing, shoes, household goods. You can pass the church almost any day and see him out working. His heart is so big, and his only reward, he says, is helping his fellow man. And so, as mayor, I want to recognize his true spirit and giving heart, and I appreciate him so much.
Thank you.
Please tell him that.
Thank
You
you.
want to say anything?
First of all, it's all glory to God first. Again, my father, he does not like no rewards, whatever. He says the best reward is when he gets to heaven. And we know that we was there, sent by God in Waynesville. And I believe that God is doing great things in Waynesville, and Waynesville is going to continue to grow. When we first got there, I'm an alumni, 97. There was nothing in Waynesville, but when we started with the vision of God that gave to my father to build Waynesville, Waynesville started to grow and the light started shining. So Waynesville is for God, and yes, the key, but this key is like the key to God's heart.
Nice.
And that's what we want to do. We just want to serve.
Nice.
That's it. Amen.
Nice.
God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Please tell him again. Well, our business spotlight tonight, I don't believe there's anybody here. So we'll have to hand deliver this to them. And I will tell you that someone nominated the Piney Ridge Behavioral Center as our business spotlight this year. And I'll just say a few things about them. They are a psychiatric residential treatment center. And most of us know that they have been here for many, many years. They took over the old hospital building. Piney Ridge has 182 employees. So it is one of our largest employers. Much like we learned with CFR. You know, CFR has like 300 employees. These are big businesses in our community. And so we say this month, congratulations to them. And again, we will have that delivered to them. And then we have, I made a joke and said he's my new best friend. And Mr. Harold, I'm going to let you introduce Kelly Beats. And I'll just step aside here.
Okay, Kelly? Yeah, we appreciate Kelly coming down. Kelly's a representative of MIRMA, which is our new insurance that the city went to, and we've been with them just a few months, but we've had a good relationship with them. I think Kelly was recently down here and conducted some very interesting training with their police officers in this very building, you know, where they got some realistic scenarios, and it was good training and really fun for police officers. We really enjoyed it. So Kelly, and I think you've got some grant programs here, and you're here to talk about a couple of the grants that I think the city's put in for. Kelly, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, MIRMA is what we're referred to. It's an acronym because it's a mouthful. It's Missouri Intergovernmental Risk Management Association, or Missouri Municipal Trust is what we are. We spun out of MPUA, which I think Bruce is very active in. when we're insurance pool for cities and communities and utility operations in the state of Missouri. And so welcome aboard. Waynesville have been great to work with, very proactive, and that's what I'm here for tonight. Part of the program is a lot of communities have the same risk factors. Power linemen and bucket trucks, gotta have fall protection so they don't fall out of the bucket trucks. So we have a risk grant program for these higher risk activities that cities get involved in, either safety and health for the employees, safety and health for the citizens community, or it could be liability exposures. And that's what I've got here tonight. We kind of touch safety and liability. They submitted for a security system for City Hall and a security system for the police department. We're giving back 70% on both of those security systems.
Nice.
So City Hall, we're giving back $1,866.
Nice.
And the security system for the police department, $1,323 for a total of $3,189. Great tool to eliminate any problems that could happen in City Hall or police department, or if something does happen, we have evidence of it now. So.
And if you want to look up in the corner, you can see one of our security cameras.
There they are.
So you're all Big Brother's watching us.
And I believe we have one in our lobby.
Yes,
And
we
I
have.
believe we have some outside.
Yes, we have all through City Hall and at the police department. We have security cameras. It's just an important security feature to have nowadays. So we
Well,
appreciate those. We appreciate the grants.
and we appreciate your money, the money that you gave us. That's wonderful.
Well, we just try to promote, being proactive in our communities,
Very
which you
good.
guys are. And we've got a list of items for other department heads, and they can call me and I can walk
Very good.
them through it.
Well, and I'm told now that you're going to be our best friend.
I will be.
So everybody, this is Kelly. So if we have problems, John and Bruce, we know who to call.
Well, next time we bring the simulator back for the firearms training, we'll have some council members come and
Very good.
see what the police officers have to do. There's a lot they have to deal with relatively quickly, and that simulator will bring that out.
Very
And it
good.
was very good training, and went over with the chief some of the things some of the things we're good on, some of the things we still need to work on.
Very good.
I've got a little placard. I didn't bring the check, so
Bruce.
you're gonna have to call Terry in the office and get the check, but I brought a nice little plaque and it's kind of a recognition.
You got it.
There we go.
I don't see him anywhere.
Picture taken tonight. There you go.
Thanks for having me.
Feel free to stay. Very good.
Thanks for giving me time.
Thank you.
And Derek Clark, would you step up, please, and let me introduce you and just say a few words there about you, and then I'll let you say a few words. How's that? Council, this is Derek Clark, and are you the new master?
Yes, I am.
Scoutmaster?
Yes.
Very good. I'm glad to meet you. I work with 202 quite a bit, and of course Steve Eric, I believe he just left.
Yes.
And so, guys, this is Derek Clark, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about the badges and introduce
Yes,
them.
thanks for having us tonight.
Yes.
First of all, tonight we have several scouts here to meet part of the requirements for citizenship in the community.
Very good.
See what everyone here does, maybe look at in the future, sitting in one of these seats.
That's right.
But also being a good citizen in the community. And they're here to meet requirements on the communication merit badge, which there's some good communications going on right now. It's giving the scouts more ideas on how to communicate within the community, school, at home, et cetera, et cetera. That's why we're here tonight. Glad to be here.
Well, we are proud to have you, and again, we look forward to working with you.
Yes.
Always count on the Boy Scout. I shouldn't say Boy Scouts anymore. Always count on the Scouts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have A and B scouts here tonight.
Very good. Thank you very much, Derek.
Thank you.
Derek, for being here.
All right.
Very good. And then, John and Bruce, if you would step up to the podium, because I'm going to let Bruce talk in just a second. But I want you to step up here, John, so that the camera can show the public what you look like, okay?
Oh, no.
For you who do not know, there's going to be...
John. The handsome guy here, you know, working on it here.
For you who do not know, we are getting ready in Waynesville for a huge transition. And not only will there be a new mayor, but probably next June there will be a new city administrator. And starting on October 1st, the city council unanimously voted to hire John Doyle as that city administrator. John Doyle is right now our assistant city administrator and our engineer. So he's kind of got two hats. I want to tell you just a little bit about him, and then I'll let Mr. Harrell say a few things. John graduated from Dixon High School. We won't hold that against you. What is Dixon? Bulldogs?
Bulldog.
You're a Bulldog.
That's right.
He continued his education at MST, and of course back then, John, it was UMR. Took us a while to get used to that, didn't it? He has a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. I kind of like to say that we got a twofer with John. Get it? He's a civil engineer and our city administrator. I always used to say that about Bruce. Bruce was a twofer also because he was a banker and was our city administrator. So they both brought and bring very good and different skills. He has worked, of course, for the city on quite a few projects. And personally, he is married to his wife, Kristen. They have a 14-year-old daughter named Kylie. And, get ready for it, his wife teaches at Camdenton High School. There was an audible oh. So his wife is a Laker and he's a Bulldog. But you know what? Before it's over, we'll have you a Tiger, okay? Let's see, his wife teaches first grade in Camdenton. And John is very much an outdoorsman. He likes the outdoors and he loves cardinals. And so again, we've had John here for a little while. Bruce, say a few things about John.
Okay, well, of course, I'm planning on retiring next year. And one of the things when you go, we've had a lot of progress in the city, working with the mayor and the city council, all the city staff, and we want to see that continue. So we're very glad to get John Doyle on board to continue that progress we've made in the city. We'd worked with John as our city engineer, knew he had a lot of good common sense. He's easy to work with, knew a lot about utilities. And so he's a natural fit for the city with his background in civil engineering. He's a natural fit for the city. We're glad to get him on board. He's got several months to learn all about the city, and we're going into a good place, and we're just going to continue moving the city upward. And I'd like to say thanks for coming on board with us.
Appreciate it.
Very good.
I just want to say I look forward to working with the people of the community of Waynesville, the mayor, and the council. Let's keep pushing the ball down the court.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, John.
We're going to get a picture.
We're a picture taking tonight. Who is that? I don't have any idea. She's Guys, this is also the time on our agenda for citizens' comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to step up? Come up, my friend. This is my friend. Who else? Very good. And you need to tell...
He was my teacher.
That's right. I taught you this, didn't I? Would you tell the city clerk your name, please?
Tammy Keeling. Keeling.
And if you want to, Tammy, turn that back around toward Ralph here so we can see you, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm Tammy Keeling. I live at 1607 Pearson. You might want to write that down.
Got it.
It is in city limits. It's where Tagney Court is, the back part of it. And we
I
need
know
our-
that street well.
Yes, you do, because your friend used to.
Yes.
Okay, we need our road fixed. My mom is disabled, and an ambulance has to come down there all the time. And the ambulance goes like this, but I keep getting that it's a private road.
Yes.
But we pay city and county taxes. Maybe we don't need to pay
Okay,
taxes.
but no, let me tell you this, Tammy. My driveway is my property, but I pay taxes. I take care of my driveway. So that's the difference.
Well, it's
But I
just-
definitely understand what you mean. I think we've, over the
Mayor, we
years,
had an offer to pay that at one time when
Yeah.
you put a water line in there and it's declined.
yeah, the people,
you
the
know,
owners would not let us,
They won't let you pave it?
no.
We
We
had an
can't get
offer to do it.
graded?
It was tied in with running maybe an improvement, a sewer line improvement through there.
Okay, that's all been done,
Yes, I know it's been done.
so it can't be graded?
Normally,
or
we
anything?
accept roads when they have to meet a certain standard to accept the roads. And a lot of times, the developers or the people who does it.
The people that live there? Like
Well, the people that own the road.
Yeah. So do we know who owns the road? Is it the people that live on there?
No, I believe it's the,
It's not Taggy Court.
I believe it is a privately owned drive, but we'll research that and
Yeah,
find more
Yeah,
information.
because the
to it.
thing is, you know, my mom bought a brand new car and it's tearing up already. None of us have shocks anymore. Like I said, the ambulances bounce all over the place. They don't like it either. Not only that, I've had to, I'm partially disabled as well, and I've had to get a step ladder and go out there and cut tree limbs down that were hanging in the road, raking the top of our vehicles. And I don't know, it's just right there. I figured somebody could come help do
and
stuff.
I know your frustration.
Yes,
Because,
ma'am.
again,
Yeah,
your mom was my good friend.
yeah.
And we've tried over the years to help. I think one time we even went up there, we probably shouldn't have, but we went up there and filled in a big old pothole.
And
Oh,
we-
yeah,
We do
they're-
have several roads in the city, and there's some through other trailer courts that, trailer areas that are not in good shape, which are under the personal ownership of those people.
Right.
Yeah, and those
And I know
people,
that is a difficult issue, but it's,
and the people that live on our road are very poor, and we tried to get them to go in on some gravel with us to do it ourselves, but they won't do it. And another thing, a while back, I actually called, I talked to Jen, she ain't here anymore. I talked to Jen about how disgusting the places are before our house. My mom's put like $5,000 into our place because she's not well and she's getting ready for when she's gone so I could sell the place. So we put all this money in. So I called up to City Hall and complained about the filth. The 3 houses before us.
Okay.
They sent out letters to everybody saying they needed to clean up their place.
Right.
Even we got one, which I was really mad, but then they explained it to me. You know how I am. Anyways, they didn't do anything. I mean, they picked up a little bit of trash. It's still nasty.
Well, we're gonna check on that.
yes, those are issues, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
You send out a letter and people will do the minimum, or maybe
Yeah.
below
Yeah,
the minimum.
that's what they did.
And so it doesn't always work the first time, and so it takes several actions usually to
Yeah.
get people to comply, and then,
Yeah, it's
It's
gonna
not
be
a-
really hard for me to sell it when
Okay.
you have to pass all that junk, all them cars and.
it is a responsibility of those people who own the property to
I
clean
know,
it up.
they don't care.
Well, it takes, it's a
terrible.
process
Yeah.
through the city, it doesn't happen overnight, Chairman.
And I'm just gonna agree
Yeah.
with you and tell you
Yeah.
that I don't understand that
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Because not only are you ruining your property value,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
ruining your neighbor's property value.
Yeah, they do.
And
Because ours
we
is
have to
so
follow
nice.
the law. You know, we send the letters.
They have so many days to comply,
Yeah.
and then we have to go back and re-inspect. But
Okay,
we'll go
well,
back and re-inspect.
thank you.
And we'll see
But we
what's
will-
going on
I
and
appreciate it.
take it to the next level.
So the road thing is nix.
No, we're gonna check and see who owns it.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
check and see who's on
All
it.
right, that'd be awesome.
But
I
I think
appreciate
we
it.
know.
Yeah,
Huh?
I think we know.
Who owns it?
I mean, I think we are pretty certain that's a private drive,
Okay.
and we don't fix private drives.
Wow, so we would have to do it ourselves.
I do my driveway,
Okay.
you know, but we'll look into it.
Yeah, it's a pretty long road. My mom can't afford to do that.
Yeah. But we'll look into it, Tammy, I promise.
All right. Thank you, Ms.
You're
Hartman.
welcome. Come up, sir, and tell us your name.
Get me to leave this up here?
Yeah, this man here is coming up behind you.
Oh, okay.
you did, you got it.
Thank you, Tammy, you handled that well, you have an A for the day.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Alex Pagel.
Well, very good, we just talked to you on Facebook.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, very good.
Absolutely. I'm currently a resident of St. Robert, but my issue is with the Waynesville St. Robert sports,
Okay.
youth sports
I
program.
know, I've talked with you before.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I don't think I've talked to you. I've talked to the council.
Notes.
Yes, ma'am. So I've typed some stuff out. I'm not good off the hip, so if
Okay.
it's okay if I read from that. Let me get to the top here, sorry about that. Good evening, Mayor Hardman, council members. My name is Alex Pagel. I'm a soldier, a father, a husband, and I have 3 small children. It has been brought to my attention that you let anyone in the communities, surrounding communities, volunteer to be coaches in the WSR sports program, which is fantastic. Lets everybody in the community get involved with the children. I'm all about that, especially with all my kids playing sports. I come from a large sports background as well, growing up as a kid. This being said, it has also been brought to my attention that there were no background checks done with the coaches.
Okay. I don't believe.
No,
We were under a program, not completely true, we were under a kind of a program where we asked the coaches to get their background check and bring it in, and they didn't. Now, we had a problem with one coach, and we took care of it. It was not a danger to any child. The chief basically asked him to voluntarily step down, and he did. So there was one issue, I think it was blown a little bit out of proportion, but
Is that what you're going to talk about?
I have more if I could continue, please.
Well, you're not going to talk about people.
No, ma'am, no.
yeah, we
there's
can't
no
really
names,
talk
no names
about a
involved.
personnel or legal issue here, Mayor.
You're not going to
yeah.
talk about a citizen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. There's no names or
Just
anything like
deal
that.
with the concerns.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Excuse me, I'm going to get back to my spot. WSR, as Mr. Bruce said, that there was an incident. That individual had 2 criminal accounts, one of them being a felony and another one being child endangerment. This individual was allowed to coach until this issue was brought up. This has raised many eyebrows in the communities, the surrounding communities as well, to include Waynesville, St. Robert, and Fort Leonard Wood. It took, excuse me, this was brought up to levels of the WSR without any resolution. It took me going to the garrison commander on Fort Leonard Wood to have this issue to be resolved.
Okay, that's
Mayor.
not true, and I'm going to stop you.
Yes.
That's not true. And so I'm not going to let that be said. Chief is here, Mr. Harrell is
And
here.
I like to talk about it.
Okay, go right ahead.
First of all, the garrison commander, I think he may have talked to you.
Yes.
Or the assistant. They said, really, this is not a city issue. First of all, you're innocent until proven guilty. You know, you're innocent until proven guilty. And we talked to the chief about this incident. I'm not going to go into detail on it, but the chief evaluation was that this was not a danger to any child. You know, this incident, I'm not going to say what it was because it would be personnel, was not in the chief's estimation and my estimation as well, but I rely on the chief, was not any danger to any child. But because of this controversy, we did ask this gentleman to step down, and he did. It was not because we got any pressure from the garrison commander. He doesn't have any jurisdiction over us out the day. So it was not because of that at all, and we solved the problem. And I really think that this is ingenuous. I don't think we should, I know once you're maybe accused of something, it's like you're guilty before you're proven innocent. You know, so I believe the issue is handled, and we'd be glad to talk more about this in closed session, but I don't think this would benefit us to talk anymore in open session, but you can go ahead with your statement, sir.
And can I let the chief say something?
Sure.
Chief?
The garrison commander, when we first heard about the issue, I contacted the garrison commander. He was out on vacation or unavailable. I talked to his number 2 person, I briefed him on the matter. And within a few hours, we handled it in the manner that Mr. Harrell described. But as far as the garrison commander, wasn't even aware of it. I contacted them, briefed them myself.
Sir, I contacted the garrison commander face to face prior to that, and he contacted the youth sports on Fort Leonard Wood, who they called, I don't know who he called, I would imagine somebody within WSR.
I talked to him.
I talked to Colonel Towns, who was the garrison commander for Fort Leonard Wood.
Let me get him on the phone right now. He's on my speed dial.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I talked to him too.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't mean to be rude to you,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
we have handled this situation.
Before this blows out of proportion, what is the underlying issue?
Yes, the concerns.
My issue
What's the
is,
concern? Because we haven't gotten to that because there's so much banter right now. So,
Right.
So, what worries you right now is there was a coach or other facility manager or something who had a felony and an endangerment. I don't know when, I don't know how long ago it was. People do change, so if the chief decided otherwise. Was there anything on the field or anything like that where that person endangered children or anything like that? So,
no, sir, but that leads into my point.
So, yeah, tell me your
So
concerns.
for the background checks, there's a whole lot more. This is the 4th coach that they've had to remove from the program. They had one during baseball season
Is that
last
true?
summer.
I'd have to check into that. We have problems with coaches all the time,
Yes, ma'am.
from issues all the time, so we
And that
have
was-
to kind of address issues continuously.
And that was a self-report incident from the coach, so the coach stepped up and said, hey, I did this, I messed up. Coach was removed. There was 2 other coaches that were removed from WSR, only from the fact that there was an officer who had a child playing on that team that said, hey, this has happened. So it wasn't because of any proactive work from WSR. Like Mr. Bruce said, the coach was told, hey, do your own background check, right? And
The thing
come back.
is
We're starting a different procedure.
Bruce isn't,
A lot of these.
No, I'm just quoting what he says.
I was a coach in Waynesville, St. Robert for a long time, even back when they were still playing soccer and everything on Fort Leonard Wood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I would have to go down and get fingerprinted, pay my $25 at K2 in Rolla, and bring a background check in here to be a coach in Waynesville, St. Robert.
Yes, sir.
With that said, that's not saying that if you don't slip through the cracks, or somebody might have got an Article 15 10 years ago and their commander shows up now and says they're a dirtbag.
Right. Yes, sir.
Because they were a dirtbag 15 years ago, don't mean that they are now.
Totally understand.
So, I mean, it doesn't mean if you don't slip through the cracks. So if we find somebody who slipped through a crack, you fix it like Bruce did, like the chief did, like the mayor did, like the garrison commander did. But once something is fixed, you don't keep kicking it while it's down.
Yes, sir, I understand that. But my issue is with, there's 2 individuals that numerous reports were made and nothing was done, and nothing was done, and nothing was done.
Well, who are they reporting to?
They
I mean, if
reported
they're
to,
reporting-
there's 2 staff members at WSR, I don't know if we can name names.
No,
They
we're not
reported
gonna
to
name
us, and we took it, I talked to the chief about it, we pulled up the police reports and all that, we went over them with the fine tooth comb. We made the founding that it wasn't a issue of endangerment to any child in youth sports.
And that's a big
It was a
thing.
separate
That's a
issue,
big thing in the
but we
community.
did ask the coach to step down, the chief personally went out there and he did step down.
Are you saying you had 2 more coaches that you took?
There's a total of 4, sir.
Okay, see, the
What
thing,
would be your solution?
My solution would be, I guess my issue is that there was no background checks done before this issue was raised.
there
Now, there
was.
might have been in the past.
I did it
Yes, sir, yes,
5,
sir. I
6, 7,
understand.
8, 9, 10 years ago.
Yes, sir, Mr. Davis. My thing is my wife is a coach, and they said, okay, we're gonna run a background check on you. There's been no paperwork, there's been no fingerprints, there's been no nothing.
Okay.
And she is a current coach.
We're
Now,
gonna
granted, Now granted, I know my wife, and she had, in her criminal background.
We're basically gonna change the policy and run these through the police department. The system that we're using for a while has not been catching everybody, and so we're gonna change that. But I would like to say, I've seen no serious incidents really lately of endangerment to any child.
Okay, and
You know,
that's
there's
my main
there's
focus
kind of
is
2 sides to every
endangerment.
story, but there has not been any serious endangerment to any child.
And I'm
that
sure
I-
you've
that
been
I'm aware
around
of
the block
under
a few
youth sports.
times.
Yes, sir.
Right? But because you don't see what you want to happen, doesn't mean that nothing's happened.
No, I understand, and I
So-
understand that there have been steps implemented, and I appreciate that.
Well, even if they found somebody and the chief runs, Missouri checks on them and things like that, and you're in the military, I was in the military, a lot of us were in the military up here. If I did something at Fort Hood, Texas in 1991, chances are it's not gonna come up on my Missouri background check.
Correct.
So if my commander from 1991 comes down here and says he got a DUI in 1991, I don't think he should be a coach of a child right now. A Missouri background check's not gonna pick that up.
And I understand that.
That's just opinionated stuff.
Yes, sir, and I totally understand that. I was a recruiter, so we did city, state, and county of everywhere that individual is listed. So if that's on the form, and I think 48 out of 50 states run a free check on that individual, all you have to do is fax them a copy of the information of the individual you were
So
requesting.
the underlying thing is you would like to see a background check done on coaches.
And that those 2 individuals at the lower level of WSR, that these incidents have been reported to, and it took
Are you aware of that,
a
Bruce?
whole lot of actions.
Mayor, everybody has due process.
Right?
That gentleman that he's accusing had due process too.
Right.
They informed us of that, I informed the chief of it, they did a lot of things that he didn't see.
Right.
And so did the chief and other people.
Okay.
Okay, so there was a lot done behind the scenes, I think it was satisfactorily resolved, I appreciate the work the chief did on it.
Okay.
He personally visited that individual, even though And he did voluntarily step down, even though by our rules, he didn't have to.
And Alex, can
Yeah.
I say,
Yes, ma'am.
too, I don't want you to feel like we're attacking you.
No, ma'am.
Because we appreciate citizens coming in, but this was something that I was involved in, and so I knew
Yes.
what was happening.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I kind of felt
Yes,
a
ma'am.
little
Can I-
territorial about it.
It's personal too. Yes, ma'am, yes,
Exactly.
ma'am, totally
And I
understand.
understand it's personal.
So is there
Yes.
anything else that you would like
So
to
with-
address us? We need to hurry
Just-
along.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, I hate
That's
to take
okay.
up you guys' time. But I found the information about that individual in about 7 minutes, on the
Okay.
felony from.
You're
from-
going to talk to Mr. Harold about that person unless we know it already.
The
I think
issue's
I
already
know
been resolved.
everything about this person that was
Yeah.
reported,
Okay.
and the chief
It was-
individually talked to him.
It's been
So I think
resolved.
we'd actually
Okay.
know more than you do about
Okay.
the incident.
What is it that hasn't been resolved?
My issue is that the the process all around to vet coaches, referees and everything else, it's in place, I understand that. But it's the lower individuals on the totem pole that things were reported to, and I have emails and text messages and everything else from these people from months ago before this happened.
Been taken care of. Mr.
Okay, we'll
Harold
look into
said what he's
those,
gonna
we'll look into
implement.
that a little more.
And I'd be glad to support
What
that.
more do you
support
need?
documents. That's it, sir. That's my issue with the lower levels of the WSR program and the safety of my children and surrounding communities.
And we are too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's all I have.
Please don't think anything else.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
are too.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Harold
Sure.
assures you that he's going to
Yes.
look into that.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Okay? Thank you,
Thank you.
Alex. We appreciate your passion,
You want to grab Mike
okay?
or someone?
Are you a
Thank
coach?
Thank you. We'll look into that.
Say again, sir.
You a coach?
I am for WYF for the Waynesville
Youth football?
football team.
Very
Yes, for the Outlaws. I'm actually wearing a shirt tonight, so.
That's Kansas.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
and
Thank you,
addressing the
Alex.
council.
All right, thank you.
Okay, everybody. Anybody else? Oh, my goodness, step right up. And tell us your name and you can
Thank you.
address the council.
Well, my name's Glenn Clark, and the mayor, I talked to her the other day, and she
I
told
thought
me
I
I could
recognized
come,
you.
but I'd be on very thin ice. So that's the reason I'm here, I'm on thin ice. She told me I couldn't campaign, so I'm not campaigning. The only reason I'm here is to put a name with the face, or the face with the name. I know 3 or 4 of the councilmen up here, a lot of people I don't know. So I'm not even gonna say what office I'm gonna run for, but, I'm not running for an office. I'm just putting a name and a face together. Like I said, Glenn Clark. Go ahead, sir.
What was your name again?
Glenn,
Clark.
G-L-E-N, Clark.
Well, I think you can go ahead and introduce yourself, Glenn. Glenn
Well,
is
I
interested
did.
in running for the county commission.
Yeah, I'm running for-
I just told him that he cannot campaign
Campaign.
here.
And
But he
that's-
wanted to come and introduce himself.
And I'm gonna try and do it at Dixon and San Robert
Very
and
good.
everything, yeah, so I know Bill, I know, 3 or 4 of them, but, that's it.
So now we know you.
That-
You're
now
a
you
marked
know-
man,
You know,
Glenn.
you know the name, and this is the only face I'll ever have. So it's not too hard to forget either, because, it's kind of scary, okay?
Are you gonna get another name?
All right.
I should. at
No.
times.
We
When the bill
appreciate it.
collectors
We
are after me,
appreciate it.
that's what I want to use the other day, so. all
Okay,
right.
thank you,
Thank
Glenn.
you for coming, Glenn.
Okay, anybody else want to address the council? All right, moving along, we have a packed agenda tonight. You Boy Scouts are going to get a real education, okay? First thing on our list are our board and commission reports, and the first one is Lawrence. Lawrence, come up and talk to us about the park board. Briefly.
I got my orders from headquarters.
Tim Wallace, do they need the microphone? Okay, very good. You're fine.
Yeah, he put there. The meeting was called to order last Thursday at 6 o'clock. We had roll call and we had a quorum. We went into closed session at 6:01. We were back at 6:08 to continue business. September minutes were passed unanimously. Then we went right on to the master gardeners. They have a plaque at the exit. They reported they had a plaque at the exit at 156. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I have not yet seen it, but I understand
It's nice.
really nice. They have 14 people taking the classes to be a master gardener. They're about halfway through the classes. 2 members of the park board are somewhat related. One is Amanda is taking the classes, and David Carpenter's wife, Robin, is taking classes too. So they're going to be on it. So they're really happy. They're going to have 14 people because they've got other projects to be working on and to continue working on the Waynesville projects, including they're helping out on Post, the garden club on there. Okay. Now on to WSR, if you haven't had enough yet. Fall sports is coming to a close. Winter sports registration has begun. It runs until November 1st. The Waynesville Middle School gym is not available to construction. And if one is not found soon, they may have to cancel the indoor sports. They managed to sell all the candy off. Sorry about that, Mayor.
All gone.
All gone. And they had a McDonald's fundraiser. I believe it was on the 15th. I do not have the amount of how much did they pull in on that one. So I just recently found that out. Park Superintendent, Councilman Davis, probably already knows one of the things I'm going to put on there. They're working on expanding the summit to get the toddler area put on. They were expecting to have it done pretty soon, but they ran into some installation problems, so it's going to take a little longer to work out, and they're being worked on now. And yes, we're having a barbecue, but it'll be in the spring. The water splash park, they closed the water down, but they have not winterized yet. And the other thing is they're looking to put hardwood trees into the parks to replace the trees that have gone down for the different reasons they went down, whether it was insects, rot, whatever the case may be, the weather. So they're going to be putting some trees in. The event calendar, October 10th, that was last Thursday, the Back to the Blue Walk was canceled about 3 hours before it was supposed to start because of weather. The reason I'm bringing that up is I don't know if it's being rescheduled or not.
I think he was working on rescheduling.
He is working on, okay. I couldn't find that out, so that's why I brought it up tonight. October 18th, Waynesville School District Elementary PE cross-country meet.
And if you have never seen that, you should come out and watch. I'm serious. It is something to see. They used to call it Stampede in the Park. I wish they would still use that name. Because it is a huge amount of kids, and they have such a great time.
They still do use Stampede.
Oh, very good. Thank you. They still use Stampede. Very good. Good, good, good. Well, we'll look for you. Go ahead.
October 19th, Columbia College 5K run and trunk or treat. October 20th, the Knights of Columbus soccer penalty kick meet. October 25th, I'm not even sure, I don't know if it was written down. Is it Fro Globe?
Fro Globe.
Okay, benefit for CASA 5K run. And do not forget October 31st.
How could we?
Yeah, well, the Pumpkin Fest is going on, so there'll be a lot of free things down there.
And thousands of kids.
Right, and what's the
theme?
The light.
Be the light.
Be the light.
Be the light.
Be the light, right.
Okay.
And there's going to be churches and everybody there. There'll be free hot dogs and other things there.
And it's different organizations, not just churches, so.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's other organizations there. Many of them. A lot have joined you just here recently.
Right.
A lot of new ones, so it's going to be even bigger this year.
Okay.
Meeting was adjourned at 6:50.
Okay.
The next board meeting is Thursday, November 14th, 2019. We will not have a meeting in December.
Right.
We got too many family members that's got things going
Right.
on and family
I
members.
will, before you leave the podium, I will also remind everybody that the farmer's market will be having their Santa November 9th, and you might want to put that on your calendar.
Right,
Farmer's market,
Yeah,
Santa, November 9th.
yeah.
Any questions for Lawrence?
Have we been, Harmony Baptist Church has the camp out there. Has anybody talked to them about using their gym? Maybe there's something we can do.
You're not the first person to say that. I don't know if it's been mentioned or not.
Using what?
Harmony Baptist Church has a church camp out.
It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
Harmony,
Yeah.
it's the
The Baptist
Association
camp.
of
I
Baptists.
think they used it one time before, from what I understand.
And I think we did look into that.
I think we're looking into that, and we're looking into some other options. One thing was, for basketball, was the ceilings there, and wasn't real good for basketball, but we're still working on trying to find a
The
place for
Harmony,
basketball.
the Harmony Baptist camp actually has basketball courts inside there.
Seems like the
The same
WSR had
area
used
that
it
they're
one time
pulling.
before.
We'll look into that again.
Look
then.
into that.
We'll double check on the Harmony.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Lawrence. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna tell Lawrence, the Summit Park is making some kids happy.
I'm gonna go up there and see it. I
I
haven't seen
have
it.
had to stop my truck twice on the way into the summit because there is one kid that swings so high that when I'm driving up the Summit Hill, I can see the bar below the kid.
I used to do that when I was a kid. Oh, by the way, Joe Mott is taking pictures from start to finish.
Oh, nice.
As soon as it's completed, we'll have the pictures sent to Hope and
Very
Michelle
good.
and get it on the internet.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and planning and zoning, Councilman Davis, we had an interesting meeting. Would you give us the report?
Yes, we had the planning and zoning meeting on October 8th. Doug Beard called the meeting to order at 5:30 because Janet Kreider was not able to be there. We approved the minutes of the previous meeting on September 10th. Doug Beard stated that we had an action item to establish an ordinance to amend our land use regulations in regards to Airbnbs and bed and breakfasts within the city limits. There was a discussion on the meeting prior. The city administration came back with two options. Option one would mean that they had to apply for conditional use permit in R1 or R2 areas. Option two would have given no conditional use agreement or anything. They could put Airbnb pretty much anywhere in the city that they wanted to. After several minutes of discussion, I'll go with that, we voted on a $75 charge for conditional use permit one time. If they had to come back and redo things on the permit, that it was still in the initial $75. The conditional use permit allowed the city to go out and inspect for fire code, make sure that they weren't putting too many inhabitants into any room or sleeping area. And it would give the people who live on the road a say in whether they wanted the Airbnb there based on parking and things like that. By the end of the meeting, we came up with the conditional use permit with a few things changed and decided to send the ordinance to the city.
We'll deal with that in a minute.
The whole report right there, you told me to be short.
You did, and you did a great job. And again, we will address that here in just a moment, so if you have questions, just hold those and we'll cut into them shortly. First thing on our agenda is the reappointment of our commission members. For you scouts, I would tell you that planning and zoning determines where we allow certain things to be built. Commercial, residential, we separate those things, and that's what we're talking about. I'd like to entertain a motion for the reappointment of Janet Kreider, Douglas Beard, Jim Lord, and Scott Owens to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that would be also with a huge thank you to these volunteers. I'd entertain a motion. Jerry?
I'll second it.
Second by Mike Curtis. I believe probably hands will be fine. All those in favor? and that is unanimous, and those members are reappointed. And then we have proposed ordinance 2385, which establishes regulations for short-term rentals, such as Airbnbs, there's other names, and even lodging rooms in your home. Counselor, this is ordinance number 2385.
Thank you. An ordinance establishing regulations pertaining to short-term rental of a residence or lodging room, fixing an effective date. An ordinance establishing regulations pertaining to short-term rental of a residence or lodging room, fixing an effective date.
I'd entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Cecil. Second by Clarence down here. And I'm sure we do have a few questions. Bruce, would you want to just give maybe an overall thing here real quick? I think he did a pretty good job.
Sure, I think he did a great job. It just,
and we've talked about it for 2 months. So.
Yes, it just requires a conditional use permit if they're not going into an R3 multifamily residential area, a C1 small commercial residential area, or a mixed residential commercial area. So they'd have a conditional use permit. They'd have to go before planning and zoning, and then they'd have to go to the city council to get a permit in another area in a residence. And I'd like to say thank you to Michelle, who looked up a lot of ordinances from a lot of different cities. You know, some of them are 85 pages or more. But we came. I think this is a very good ordinance. It kind of addresses it, allows the residents in that area to get their say if a B&B would come into their neighborhood.
Okay.
So any specific questions, we'd be glad to answer.
One of our concerns obviously was R1, and that again would require a conditional use permit. If somebody did that in my neighborhood, they'd have to send out letters to all the people within so many feet, and people would have to approve that. Mike?
Under Appendix A, or Exhibit A, paragraph 2A, fourth word down, the last word in that thing says a condition. It should be a conditional use permit. Also, is this tax, it's supposedly taxed like a hotel room or something like that, according to that same document? Or is this self-reporting by those people who are running these? Or how do you track who does what?
Well, they would have to, that's a good question, they would have to follow all the state laws. And I believe this is ultimately enforced by the Department of Revenue of the state of Missouri.
Because they would have a business license.
Yeah, they'd have to get a business license and they'd report their taxes just like any other business would in the city of Waynesville.
I got one question.
Bill?
If they provide meals as part of the stay, will the health department have to inspect their kitchens?
And I have no idea, because for the most part, we're talking about Airbnbs, which is where you rent the house. You don't rent, he called it bed and breakfast, but most of them now, it is Airbnbs. There's VRBO, I believe there's several companies that do this, and usually it does not involve food. Bed and breakfast.
Every law in the state of Missouri would have to be followed at one of these locations.
Right.
Now, I'd probably have to get with the health department to answer that question in more detail to see if they would require that or not. I'm not totally sure they would, but I can't really answer that.
I didn't know, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
And so I don't know the answer to that question, but they have to comply with all the laws in the state of Missouri. So there may be an issue that we don't know about, but they'd still have to comply with that law.
I think we addressed the parking well, so you can see that on the back page. I think that was an issue. And noise was another issue that people brought up. So we tried to address every issue that the planning and zoning brought up. So this is it's kind of like the tiny homes when we did that. It is an issue that is gaining popularity, and I think that it behooves the city of Waynesville to be proactive and not reactive, and so this was our effort to do that. So I have a motion. Anything else? I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Barnett.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Wilson.
Yes.
Councilman Curtis.
Yes.
Councilman Brown.
Yes.
Councilman Liberty.
Yeah.
Councilman Connolly.
Yes.
Councilman France.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good, that ordinance passes. And again, for the scouts in the back, we're now going to begin our committee reports. And in Waynesville, we operate our government very much like the federal government, except for all the upset. We don't have as much upset. But we do use the committee system, and that's what we're going to have now. Roads and Grounds, Councilman France.
I called the meeting to order on October 3rd. All members were present. No citizens were present for comments. We reviewed the proposed budget. It'll be brought back before us again next month. Agreement on GW Lane with Missouri Highway Transportation Commission, taking ownership of the portion of the road that we did for GW Lane to only taking title to the property. Street Department updated us on all their work orders that they've completed over the past month. There was a necessity for the committee to go into a closed session. We went in at 4:15, we came out at 4:59. I then called for a motion on the paving of Sweetburg Road. Councilman Wilson made the motion, Councilman Farnham seconded. The motion passed 2-1. The next scheduled meeting is November 7th, 2019 at 4:30, subject to your questions.
Very good. A lot of stuff going on in Roads and Grounds. And in fact, we're going to take care of a couple of issues tonight. Any questions for Mike? Very good. Moving right along.
We have an ordinance, Mayor.
We have an ordinance 2386 concerning MoDOT's right-of-way at the GW Lane project.
Thank you.
Counselor?
An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of conveyance of street right-of-way on GW Lane from the Missouri Department of Transportation, fixing an effective date. An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of conveyance of street right-of-way on GW Lane from the Missouri Department of Transportation, fixing an effective date.
I'd entertain a motion. Motion by Mike. Second by Sean over here. And again, we're very familiar with what this is about. We have dealt with this GW Lane Street project in front of the high school. We've dealt with this for probably 3 years and finally got it done. Now we're at the point where we have to, accept the right-of-way?
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am.
And is there anything you want to add?
No, ma'am.
Any
Unless there's a
questions?
question.
Yeah,
Yes, Bill?
Did MoDOT change the quitclaim deed address for the city of Waynesville?
Remember he asked that last time?
Yes.
Mayor, what I recommend is that we write the correct address in there.
Okay.
We'll just initial it and we'll send it back to them. Once they approve things through the Department of,
Can't change it.
through their commission,
I'm
it
not
is.
trying to stop it. Bruce.
Oh, I know,
Yeah,
I know.
I say we move ahead with it and we just write it in there and initial it and send it back to them.
Right.
They'd have to go through another commission meeting and to get
We
that
don't want to
changed.
take another 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
But
what
we
my
appreciate
recommendation.
the eyes, Bill.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, it is a good point, yes.
Yes, when you record it, it needs to be right.
Yes.
Does this
Okay.
take me off the hook for going out there with a pick and taking out that side?
Not completely, no.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman France.
Yes.
Councilman Connolly.
Absolutely.
Councilman Liberty.
Yes.
Councilman Brown.
Yes.
Councilman Curtis.
Yes.
Councilman Wilson.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Farnham.
Yes.
Thank you.
That ordinance is passed. We now have taken care of the GW Lane project except for the fence. Remember, we're gonna have to do a fence. Y'all remember that. Utilities, Councilman France, keep talking.
Okay. I call the meeting to order. On October 1st, members were present. No citizens were there for comments. We reviewed the draft 2020 budget for utilities. It'll come back before us one more time. Water, wastewater projects, Northern Heights tank update. The tank still has not been delivered as yet. They're putting a crew together and there's some issues with it.
Tank is here, I believe.
What?
Tank is here.
It arrived?
Oh, it arrived, okay.
Since yesterday. Okay, well, number 2, rebuild update. It has been completed. They were working on it again the other day, putting up the last of the siding. 29 water loss report. Mr. Eldridge told us that we are under 20% loss for the period. SCADA, you'll find we have an ordinance for SCADA. SCADA is the system we utilize to monitor our water towers and water systems, and it will tell us, instead of sending a person out or someone calling in and say, hey, there's water running out of a tank or whatever, we can tell it from a computer that is managed at several different locations. We can also operate various systems in there to shut it down, turn it on, without having to send people out or to call additional people in. We already have it on 2 of our wells, and right now, we've gotten so many wells that this is an opportune time to get this done with the money that we already have. Okay? Electric projects, reconductor feeder line. We've been working reconductoring lines for some time, and this is just another one that's going on. Feeder line C to D tie is tentatively scheduled to begin in October. All this reconductoring, and that all it does is make our system more reliable. We're putting some new wire up, changing some phases, putting in new poles in some instances that have been identified as bad. We've modified some routes and stuff like that, but it's all for the betterment and the reliability of our system. Pole replacements, we paid money last year to have a sonogram on about half of the poles in the city, and they identified 14 that were bad. We're down to 4 needing still to be replaced. We have replaced more than that, in that with all the storms we had, the trees taking out poles, so we've actually done a lot more than 14. Update on Cody Bond. He was here this evening. We've been through that. Gas Department, Missouri Public Service Commission did an audit in their inspection. We received their summary back, only showing 1 recommendation, which is the best inspection the city has received since I've been chairman of the utility committee for about 8 or 9 years. Water Sewer Department, Mr. Elder stated that his department has repaired 5 main breaks, repaired 3 meter leaks, repaired a service line, 12 work orders. They've also completed work on our booster pump house, and that as well as working on well number 2, finishing up. A motion was made by Councilman Wilson to go into closed session at 4:03. Motion was carried. At 4:38 p.m., the committee came out of closed session. The next meeting is scheduled for November 5th at 3:30 p.m.
Very good. Any questions for Mike? Lot of stuff going on in utilities, and of course we have several ordinances here. But I want to say publicly how proud I am of this city and our staff and our council for all of the improvements that we've done to our utility system. We have worked so hard to make it more reliable, make it more efficient, and I am one proud mayor. Let me just say that. We have several ordinances tonight.
Right.
First one, Counselor, get ready.
Thank you.
Is 2387. Counselor.
An ordinance amending the 2019 annual budget in order to expand the supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA, for the city of Waynesville's water service system, fixing an effective date. And an ordinance amending the 2019 annual budget in order to expand the supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA, for the city of Waynesville's water service system, fixing an effective date.
Very good. I entertain a motion. Motion from Clarence. Second over here by Cecil. And are there questions? Again, I believe we're pretty versed on this, on the SCADA system, and in fact the benefits that it's done for our city. Anything else? Madam Clerk, would you take the roll?
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yep.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Connolly?
Yes.
Councilman France?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That ordinance passes, okay? And then we have ordinance 2388. Counselor.
Thank you. An ordinance giving approval to mayor and/or city administrator execute a contract for the purchase of property from Bearfoot Creek LLC, a limited liability company, for property located on Mitchell Heights Drive, fixing an effective date. And an ordinance giving approval to mayor and/or city administrator to execute a contract for the purchase of property from Bearfoot Creek LLC, a limited liability company, for property located on Mitchell Heights Drive, fixing an effective date.
Very good. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion.
And Clarence, I believe I heard first, second by Ed. And Bruce, you want to give a little
Yes, Mayor.
report on this for the public?
We're looking to purchase some property. And we're looking to make some improvements on said property to improve our utility systems within the city and a certain portion of the property that is suitable for that sort. Some of the property we may have other better uses for it. It may be better for residential in some areas, but there are some areas that we can use for municipal purposes to help improve our utility systems, electrical and water.
Okay. And I believe that's all we'll see at this time.
Yes.
We'll have more to tell much later. So this is, again, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman France?
I have to abstain.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
That ordinance passes, and I am one of those people who like to let people know why people abstain. And that means that he has some kind of interest in this issue. And Mr. France is a real estate person, okay? And so that's all I'll say about that. But he does have an interest there. All right, proposed ordinance 2389.
Thank you.
Counselor.
And ordinance approving an amendment to the agreement between the City of Waynesville and City of Richland relating to natural gas, fixing an effective date. And ordinance approving an amendment to the agreement between the City of Waynesville and City of Richland relating to natural gas, fixing an effective date.
Very good. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mike Curtis here, and second by Jerry. Again, this is an ordinance that's going to reestablish our contract with Richland. And the last contract we had with the City of Richland was 1994. And so we are having to renegotiate that. I've got a motion, a second. Mr. Harold, is there anything you want to add?
Mayor, I just want to say, in the past 25 years, there's been a lot of changes in the reservation costs to basically to the city of Waynesville. So the past compensation to the city was 15 cents per decatherm. You know, now with our monthly reservation costs at a little over $33,000 a month, the 15 cents is not the correct amount anymore. And so we're basically working a fair deal with the city of Richland, but we're increasing the cost per decatherm by $1. So, any questions?
Very good. Again, we have discussed this at length amongst ourselves. This is a very important issue. Are there any other questions or comments? That'll cost you 25 cents, please.
It's on my.
I know. It was just a loud vibrator. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman France?
Yes.
Thank you.
That ordinance passes, and again, we'll deal with Richland on that. Finance and Human Resources, Councilman Liberty.
Meeting was conducted on October 10th, 5 p.m. Committee reviewed the bills and approved to pay the bills. Mr. Harrell reported to the committee as of this date, we had over $3.3 million in the city bank account with $2.6 million in restricted accounts and $705,640.31 in usable money. We already covered the water data system. Mr. Harrell presented a full copy of proposed 2020 budget for the committee's review. He stated budget plans for 1.6 COLA as approved by City Council, as well as 5% health insurance increase. Mr. Harrell stated we have notice to proceed with a recreation trail grant. However, the city is currently waiting for FEMA to approve the location of the new restroom. Mr. Harrell updated the committee on the airport taxiway and terminal grant. Mr. Harrell stated that city did not receive the Volkswagen grant this year, but they will reapply. Mr. Harrell stated there was need for closed session. We went into closed session, came back out. We went in at 5:13, came out at 5:31. Councilman Davis made a motion to forward resolution determining the intent of the city of Waynesville, Missouri to reimburse itself for capital expenditures to the city for approval of what was seconded by Council Davis, unanimous. With no further business coming before the committee adjourned at 5:31. Next meeting will be November 14th, 2019.
Very good. And we, of course, do have a resolution tonight determining the fact that we're going to reimburse ourselves for water tower improvements, electric substation improvements, as we go forward with those plans. Okay, so really it's just a bookkeeping thing. What's the correction? Capital.
Yes.
Capital has an 8 in it, if somebody would correct that. But this is Resolution 2019-09. And Scouts, I get to read the resolutions. When it involves a legal ordinance, the lawyer has to read it. And did you notice that he read it twice? State law says you have to read it twice. And I don't know if that's because they're thinking people in the audience aren't listening. But he has to read it twice by state law. Resolutions, I get to do that. So this is Resolution 2019-09. It is a resolution determining the intent of the city of Waynesville, Missouri to reimburse itself for capital expenditures. Capital expenditures. I'm so used to saying capital improvement. So to reimburse itself for capital expenditures. I would entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Clarence and second by Sean. And any discussion? And Mr. Harrell, is there anything else you want to add?
Unless you've got any questions.
Did I describe it pretty well?
You did.
Okay. Anything else?
I'll say that, you know, this looks like a lot of money that we're.
Well, we haven't even discussed it yet, but
Okay, go ahead.
yeah. But it does involve looking forward and borrowing some money.
Forward. This past year, we've paid off
Right.
our water tower loan and some other stuff, so.
We're not sitting still.
we're not
There you go.
still.
Kind of talked a little bit about it in executive session, and I like that, Mike. We're not sitting still. I would tell you that, you know, since I've been mayor, we have done a lot in this city. With Mr. Harrell, our city councils, we have done a lot. And sometimes that involves borrowing some money so that you can do those projects. And again, that's what we're discussing here. So we have a motion, a second, and Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman France?
Yes.
Very good, and that resolution passes. The next thing on our agenda is a draft of our budget coming up for this coming next year. We call that our fiscal year, and this is for 2020. I believe for the second time, our budget will be in the $20 million range. Bruce gave us a handout here that talks about some of the projects that we're going to be doing. If you would like to just highlight a couple of things about the budget, and we'll go on.
Sure, Mayor. Of course, it is a $20 million budget. It's a little bit down from last year, but our parallel taxiway grant is going to, we anticipate it will be all completed by then, and that's about a $3.5 million project. So it's a balanced budget. Of course, so we're running this through every committee, and we'll give you an advance copy of it now, and we'll run it back again through the committees, the next round of committees, and we plan to take it to City Council at the November meeting for approval, and be glad to answer any questions. Of course, we'll go over everything with each individual committee as well, and we may tweak it a little bit, but it is balanced right now. And let's see, I think Stephanie Luthen, our former finance officer, retired, got it started. Now Amber Box is carrying it on. We appreciate her work and the work, of course, every committee and the department heads and all the managing team.
Very good.
Any questions?
And it is a huge job. You know, putting together a budget usually takes the city 3 months, and then I'm sure we'll vote on this next month. I just want to say again, you can tell I'm a teacher because I keep wanting to tell these kids things. And kids, under state law, local governments have to have balanced budgets. We can't print any money like the federal government does. And so we have to have a balanced budget. And we have to be very careful with our debt if we borrow. And so, you know, usually they say within a 10% debt ratio. And so those are very important things to us. But I think the important thing for you guys to know is that we have to have a balanced budget. Very good. And we'll be voting on that next month. Police Committee, Councilman Liberty.
Yes, the October 3rd Emergency Service and Police Committee meeting was called to order. Mr. Harold discussed proposed 1.6 cold step increase. For the officers this year, the step increase will be more flexible than in the past. And Chief and Mr. Harold will decide the range of that. We're looking in another police car and have projected $45,000 for it. We have $15,000 for other fixed assets during the year. And Mr. Harold, did you still want to bring that other one back to the committee?
We'd like to bring the animal control and beekeeping ordinances back for just a little minor work. And we also had a very full agenda on this meeting. And we thought some of those other actions, we could handle those, and we had one tweak on animal ordinance, which I think I talked to you prior. So we'd like to discuss that at your committee meeting, just a minor tweak.
Okay. Updated security for City Hall Police Department, that has been covered. The MIRMA training with the police department has been covered. October events for police department. Chief Cordova discussed the events for the month of October that require closing the park or the downtown square. Grant update, Chief Cordova stated he has just completed 2 grants, $12,040 for DWI saturation and $11,150 for hazardous moving violation. Other business, Mr. Harold discussed letter that was given to him reference a suicidal subject, and Chief Cordova responded to that. Having no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 3:47. Next scheduled meeting was November 7th at 3:30 p.m.
Very good. Any questions for Clarence? I won't go into detail, but I would tell the chief, who's in the back of the room, that we're very proud of him, and we're very, very proud. I know you are kind of like a few other people. You don't like to be complimented, and but I'm going to tell you that you did a wonderful job helping that person. And I know at your committee meeting, didn't he just say, "I was just doing my job"?
Yes.
And that's a great attitude, and we appreciate you. Okay, airport, Councilman Wilson. A lot of stuff going on there.
The airport board convened on September 24th at 3 p.m. All the board members were present. We'll move to the reports on the staff. We currently have we're waiting for reimbursements from MoDOT. We received about $400,000 from MoDOT payment of that reimbursement, so we're down to $1.3 million of revenue still remaining. We had a $1 million payment due to Willard Asphalt paving for the runway, which created a cash flow challenge, but Mr. Harold stated that he talked to MoDOT Aviation, and they received our new grant for 2019. There is a $600,000 there is $600,000 for a grant since we had 800 employments.
8,000.
Or 8,000, I'm sorry. we had 8,000 employments for 2017. The next grant will only be 150,000 due to the decrease in the number of employments. Mr. Harrell stated that he received the email from Andrew Booney and the employments for Cape Air from 2018 to 2019. For 2018, Cape Air had a little bit over 7,500 employments. The year to date, we have 3,889 employments. Some good news for the airport operations was that the fuel sales were good for this month, for the month of September, due to military flights. And also the new fuel truck should be delivered sometime this month if it hasn't already been delivered. For new business, Mr. Harrell stated that he took some items to closed session. We talked in closed session, and he stated that we would have a nomination for a new board member. Old business pertaining to the parallel taxiway, Bloomsdale requested an additional time due to the weather. It would not be any additional cost to the city to request that. Motion was made and it was passed. Project updates, Dave Robinson stated that everything should be completed on the parallel taxiway, weather dependent, by mid-October, and we'll see updates with that this month as well. Moving on to Burns and McDowell, the terminal update. Mr. Earl stated that there was, he asked Burns and McDowell to put together some information regarding the extended runway and moving the road. He was then asked to lay out pros and cons and the cost that would it take. So Dave Robinson and his crew and the garrison commander, they're gonna go over these ideas and collect information for further decision. As far as marketing updates, the numbers pretty much stayed the same. There was some good news as far as the Google ads were concerned. They were extremely high, but still awaiting some improvement with the results of the guide on. And the wishes are that the clicks would be higher. With that said, other business, Dave Robinson expressed his appreciation for Contour Airlines for the ticket giveaway at the retirement party he attended. There was a need for a closed session that started at 3:35. It ended at 3:45, and the meeting adjourned at 3:46. The next meeting is on October 22nd at 3 p.m. at St. Robert.
Very good. Questions for Sean? Okay. And I have an appointment to the airport board. And please forgive me, Doug, if you're listening. I'll try to pronounce his name as correctly as I can. Spitoni. So I would like a motion to put this man on the airport board. Mike France says motion. Second by Sean. And all those in favor, raise your hand, please. That's unanimous. And welcome to the board. And we have economic development. Bill.
Okay, economic development, at our last meeting, the biggest part of it we've already covered tonight with the bed and breakfast and short-term rentals. I'm gonna skip all that, Mayor.
Okay.
We had a lot of discussion also on research regarding adopting new building codes, and that's continuing to be worked on. Also, the business license requirements for contractors and subcontractors was a large discussion, which is still being looked at. And economic development issues, well, Tiny Ridge Center was our business for the month, so that was part of the discussion also. I haven't been told if there's anybody wanting to be next month's business, if we've received any.
I believe there is. I believe we have one.
Yes. In our other business, Mr. Harrell went over the budget and stated the economic development budget this year is $50,000. We're looking to recommend the same for next year, and had the breakdowns of how that money was to be dispersed. We had a need for a closed session, which we went into. After about 10 minutes in closed session, we came back out and we adjourned. So very quick meeting.
Very good. Can I pick up Bill and talk about dates a little bit? And I would like to tell everyone, remind everybody, in fact, I was going to talk about this in my comments, but I'll go ahead and do it. but next Thursday, Waynesville will be hosting the Merrimack Regional Planning Commission annual banquet for the first time ever. It is the 50th anniversary of our Regional Planning Commission, and so we're thrilled to death that it's going to be here. It's going to be in Stonebrook Center. I wanted to mention that, and I believe I've already announced this, that we're going to be, as a city, recognizing the volunteerism of Jan and Terry Primus. I am thrilled that all of my council people are going to be at the banquet, and then several of our staff will be there also because they have worked so hard on this. And so I want to thank, I believe Amber stepped out, but Amber, Miriam Jones, Michelle Brown, I want to thank you guys for your work on this. And I also want to take just a moment to say that the entertainment next Thursday night is going to feature the Waynesville High School Chamber Choir. I'm thrilled to death. So they're going to give us a good show. And also, be looking forward to a citizen, I believe she's a military wife. Her name is Sarah Del Moule, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly. She's a violinist, and she's going to be doing the national anthem on her violin. And if you've never heard it done, you will be amazed. Yeah. So thanks again to our sponsors. Our local banks paid for the facility, and that is Security Bank of Pulaski County, the iBank, Bank of Crocker, and Infused Credit Union, as well as the Waynesville St. Robert Regional Airport, and hosting our reception, Hoppers, Cellar 66, and Piney River Brewing Company. So I want to say thank you to all those people. And again, that's next Thursday. I appreciate you guys being there. Real quick, our Pumpkin Fest, we mentioned that. And also on November 11th, I want everybody to come out this year to the Veterans Parade. It is in St. Robert this year. We take turns. It is at 11 o'clock on the 11th month and the 11th day. And it is, of course, Armistice Day. That was the day that World War I stopped, or was ceasefire. This year I nominated Daniel Barnes as Veteran of the Year. Many of you know Daniel. Daniel is a veteran of the Army. He was a staff sergeant and in fact, he attended basic training here at Fort Leonard Wood. Isn't that cool? His first duty station was Fort Hood. He was an engineer. He was deployed to Iraq on 2 occasions, and on his second deployment, a rocket-propelled grenade injured Daniel, and many of you know Daniel because he's very active with the Scouts. He lost both his legs. Daniel sustained critical injuries. And again, Daniel is not only somebody to look up to, he is my personal friend and probably a personal friend to many of you. He retired from the U.S. Army in 2008, and he and his family chose the Waynesville area as their home. He is active in the community. He has served as an assistant scoutmaster and, of course, has worked with the chapter of Purple Heart. He's very well known with those people. I'm very proud of Dan and his family. And he's married to Gretchen. They have 4 sons. 2 of them, I believe, are still at home. And I am so proud that they chose Dan, and he's going to be the marshal of the Veterans Parade this year. I was told today by his wife that he's very nervous because he has to say something. And I said, you know, just get up there and say thank you. So I'm very proud of Daniel, and we'll be looking forward to that. And then, real quickly, our Christmas parade, sponsored by the Kiwanis Club, is always the first Sunday. This year, that's December 1st. Our Christmas on the Square event is always the first Thursday, and that this year, that is on the 5th. So be sure and mark those beautiful events down, and of course, we always look forward to Christmas in Waynesville. Well, I got one more thing here to share with you, and I'm going to put this up here and say that you're the first people to see this. Actually, I kind of let it out of the bag today at the Spouses Club luncheon, so I guess you're the second people to see this. This month, featured in the Show Me Route 66 magazine, is the city of Waynesville. And that's a picture of our downtown area. Most of you, if you're on Facebook at all, you know that that's the work of Jax Wellborn, Pics by Jax. She has, I think, done more to put us on the map than anybody because of her work. But I am so proud that we're going to be the feature article in that magazine. I believe I was told that it went to print today. The magazine has not come out, but I had permission to show this to you tonight. I believe it's a 5-page spread on Waynesville. That's pretty cool. And then, the last thing, if you're my Facebook buddy, you already know this, but maybe a month ago, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, who served under Bill Clinton, she was the first woman Secretary of State. Madeleine Albright came up to Fulton, Missouri and gave a speech. And as she gave her speech, she let it be known that she had lived in Waynesville. And it was in the newspapers, you know, that she had spent time at Waynesville. Her husband was in the Army, and they lived in Waynesville. And so I sent her a little note. I sent her a little letter and told her how proud I was that she mentioned Waynesville, and that if she ever came back this way, stop in and visit. I'd like to show her Waynesville, and I sent her new pictures and the brochures and stuff like that. Well, this week, I got a reply from Madeleine Albright. There it is. You can touch it if you want. I'm a little bit starstruck because this woman was amazing. And of course, as a woman, I really had a lot of respect for her. But my favorite part of this note is, which by the way is handwritten with her German flourish. It's a beautiful, beautiful handwriting. But my favorite part is this. It is wonderful to read about the revitalization of our historic town. Isn't that nice? Kind of made my day. And I'm going to frame that. Okay. And let's see. I think that's all my goodies that I was going to tell. We have, however, one more thing to do. Turn that over. We have another resolution, and this involves mutual aid with the city of Richland. And you kids back there, we do this a lot. Cities help each other. And it's called mutual aid. And we actually, our electric people have helped a lot of people over the years. I was looking through my Facebook memories the other day, Dan, a year ago, you guys were in Tallahassee after the hurricane there. And so we are proud to do this. And this is a resolution 2019-10. A resolution approving a mutual aid agreement between the City of Waynesville, Missouri and the City of Richland, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute the mutual aid agreement, fixing an effective date, and I only have to read it once.
That's right.
Whew. But again, we've already discussed this. We're going to help them with several issues. Do you want to say anything?
Mayor, it's basically the same agreement we used with St. James, and they specifically, we've helped them with several things in the past with street sweeper and other things. So specifically, they need some help with the building inspector the next few months.
And this also means if there was an emergency, and obviously even if we don't have agreements with our neighboring cities, if they had emergencies, we would be there to help them. But this kind of makes it legal. And so I read the resolution. I'd entertain a motion. Motion by Cecil, second by Clarence, and all those in favor. Or I'm sorry, did I need to do roll call?
No.
I need to do roll call, sorry. Ma'am?
Okay.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Holly?
Yes.
Councilman Prince?
Very good. And we have to do that, Scouts, because that shows how these guys voted. You have to show how they voted in the minutes. All right, we're almost through. City Administrator's report. I believe we hit some of your stuff.
Yes, Mayor, I think we've hit most of it. I'm just very proud of the work the city workers continue to do. We're doing a lot of work on the electrical, improving our electrical system, improving our water lines, the water towers, and grading our streets. I'm basically very proud of all the work the city workers have done in the past month, so I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Very good. Anything? Very good. We're moving along. Council comments. We always allow the councilman to have the last word. Actually, the mayor has the last word. But we'll start with you, Mike, tonight.
Halloween's coming up. Please, kids are gonna be out on the streets and up on the sidewalks, please look out for them, because a lot of times they won't be looking out for you. So slow it down, take your time, and be extremely watchful.
And we'll get our hours out. Michelle, you guys post those before long. I believe it's 6 to 9 in Waynesville, and we will be posting that. Ed?
I'll echo what Mike said about Halloween and the kids. You gotta be careful, because especially a smaller kid, wearing a costume, gonna get free candy, already got a sugar high, so I gotta run out. And I'd also like to say, I personally am very proud of all the city workers. We are very, very fortunate to have the people who work for the city. They do a yeoman's job. Whatever a yeoman is, I have worked.
It's a Navy guy.
Very good. Clarence?
I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to thank every one of you that came to tonight's meeting. And again, thank Mr. Harold, his staff, and the city employees. You all make us look good.
That's right.
Thank you.
Jerry?
I want to thank the Scoutmaster and all the scouts for attending, and I hope you enjoyed one of our longer meetings.
Yes, we usually aren't this long. Winded. Real quick.
One quick question.
Real quick.
What's going to be the theme this year for the Christmas parade?
Oh, it's, I know what it is. I'm just so full of information. Songs of Christmas. I believe Tim Barrier told me that the other day. Songs of Christmas. Okay? Mike?
Hey, Scouts, it looks like we all agree on everything, because every vote that came up, I think it was unanimous on everything.
There was one.
Well, was there one?
Abstain.
In the committees, it looks like we all agree on everything, but in committees, sometimes we don't agree. But unlike our federal government, we don't attack each other. We walk through it, and my mind's been changed. I change people's minds, so that's how government works.
Very good, Sean.
Echo everything everyone else has said, and if you're looking for a safe place to take your kids on October 31st, then come down to the park from 5:30 to 7:30. We usually have over 2,000 people come through there. Everything is free, and the theme is Be the Light, so there'll be plenty of lights.
I'm going to do a little bit of something unusual, just for the scouts there. How many council members sitting here was part of a youth organization or something like the Scouts when they were young? See how that works? I was actually a scout whenever I was young.
A long time ago.
That was a long time ago. I joined the military later, and I got a little irritated with the city, so I decided I would do something. I don't know if I could have sat through this long meeting when I was y'all's age. Props to y'all, because I'll guarantee you I couldn't have sat through it.
Yeah. Very good point. Bill?
I'd just like to ask our citizens to slow down, especially when they're behind the wheel. Those signs that are put up that says speed limit 35, that's not a suggestion, folks. That's the law.
That's good.
And when it's raining, please turn your headlights on. And if you run your wipers, it's the law. So that's my
Very good.
public service.
I have a sign in my yard that says, drive like your kids live here. So let me just say, I have the final word here. And mine are kind of sad, because I want to say to the Christek family and the Bill Ransdell family that we are thinking of them tonight as they buried their son today, who was killed in a car crash that involved drinking and driving. Good lesson for us all. But we're thinking of them tonight. And then today I received word that my friend Sandy Elmore has died. Y'all might remember Mo. Mo Elmore was on our city council. That's his mother. And I had just been to the gospel singing with Sandy. She was quite the lady. And then I wanted to give a shout out also to Mo and his family. So sometimes a lot of sad stuff going on, but again, it's part of life. Is there anything else anybody wants to say for the good of the city? In that case, this long meeting is adjourned. Thank you, kids, a lot.